Right on. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for your patience there. Just yes, I got a call at the last minute that I had to answer some questions, and yes, so that kind of delayed us a bit. But yeah, welcome to the first ever virtual Pro Break 2026, hosted by the Stone Depot, but presented by Smart Level, Great North Hardscapes, and Bridge Media. Yeah. For all you guys, thanks for your commitment to I guess further education and making our industry better. Just kind of want to note that this is being recorded. There were some people who couldn't make it, so this is being recorded. If you don't want to be recorded, you can just shut off your camera, that sort of thing there. And just if I could also ask you to mute your mic, just so that we don't, if there is anything going on in the background, there's no issues there. It isn't interrupting. Oliver, I think we talked. If you do have a question, there is a chat box there that you can just kind of type into that, and we'll try to answer them appropriately. So anyway, without any further notice, let's jump into this thing. So our first speaker is Mike East from Smart Level. Mike is the founder and president of Smart Level. Since 1996, Smart Level has been a high-precision digital altimeter that provides fast, accurate elevation measurements and is a true one-person operation. In this session, Mike will go over how Smart Level can help you save time, money, and aggravations on the job site. So without any further delay, let's give it up for Mike.
Hey guys. All right. I'm assuming right off the bat, if anybody has any questions or anything for me, and throughout the presentation, like I say, just speak up and we'll take care of you, or punch the little bubble at the bottom one way or another. So how many in the group are familiar with altimeters? There's three in the world, and there's only two that are basically used in this country. It's me, or the competition is the Zip Level. Probably going to be like most groups. Yeah, okay. So we got a few. All right, cool. So right off the bat, altimeters are wonderful alternatives to lasers. I don't tell people throw your laser away, because there's certain things that lasers do a phenomenal job on. They've been out there for years, and they're amazing. But if you don't have an altimeter to go along with that laser, you just got part of the package. With the Smart Level, as opposed to a laser, you get a digital readout, so anybody can use it. You're going to see a video here where a gentleman's, it's his first week on the job. He doesn't know what a laser is, but he's getting readings with the Smart Level. It's kind of a laser for dummies, more or less. Works around buildings, works in broad daylight, so you've got a lot of advantages there over the laser. Few advantages between the Smart Level and the Zip Level. One, we connect via Bluetooth to an app. So all of your readings are visible in real time in the app that you're seeing in the level. The distance on this, you got a 50 foot that's solid. Clear shot, you can see it about 100 foot, separate the two about 100 foot apart, but you might lose signal if you do that. One of the advantages, and I've got a video in here also, is you can put the app in your phone in the excavator with a little magnet that holds it right on the cab of the excavator. You can see what the guy in the dig is seeing in real time, and you don't miscommunicate. Quite often the guy in the dig is saying you're 6 inches too low. You're thinking you need 6 more inches, and before you know it, you're a foot too low, and you've got a truck of gravel coming. It doesn't take too many mistakes like that to pay for a Smart Level. It just eliminates a lot of frustrations. There's no math. With a laser, your story pole, the laser may hit the story pole at 29 7/16 of an inch. And if you want a 3.5 inch drop, what is that? You've got to add and subtract. Most people on a piece of paper. With Smart Level, you get a digital readout, so it'll say minus 3.5 inches from your starting point or your reference point. That's pretty simple. So I've got some videos and stuff I'm going to run through here. I got PowerPoint. If I can get this PowerPoint up and get it going, Olivier may have to help me on that a little bit. I'm not as familiar with Google as I am some of the other programs. But does anybody have any questions about the levels to start with before we get started? Now, I know one of the things is Johnny has been presenting the level is temperature variations with the level. And typically I tell people the level works about like I do. I work well till you get down around 0, around freezing. Below that, I start to get a little slow and a little ornery. So the level works really well till you get down into the teens. And here I've got, 15 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm in the States. That's about minus 10 Celsius. You shouldn't have any problems at all with that. When you get down to 0 Fahrenheit, which would be about -18 or -20, it starts to get pretty slow. And what I tell folks to do is keep the level in the truck or wherever that, that you got a warm place somewhere that you warm up. Just keep the level there till you need it, pull it out and use it. And then when it starts to get cold, just put it back and warm it back up. It'll work all the way down. I've used it all the way down to -22 Fahrenheit, which is bitter cold up in Alaska, but it gets really slow when you start using it that cold. So I'm going to start the PowerPoint rolling here. See if we can get this going. Entire screen. Let's see. I think I may have. Olivier, I may not have done that quite right, Olivier.
No, it's good. It's good. You just got to go from beginning. Yeah, exactly. You're at the right spot. We see your screen. Yep,
okay, we good there?
Yep.
Cool.
Good
All
work,
right.
Mike.
Johnny, I told you I was going to make you look good after I muddle through this, guys. Okay. What a lot of people don't realize, Smart Level is actually an industrial computer. We upgrade the firmware in the level itself about once a year. Now, every other device out there, whatever it does when you buy it, that's all it's ever going to do. They're not computers like the Smart Level is. The Smart Level can be upgraded just like you upgrade your laptop. When I was designing these, I told my engineers I want this to last at least a decade without running out of memory or the microprocessor getting outdated, so we have to update it. I hate it when you buy a piece of equipment that's working fine, but you can't load the next update because it's 3 or 4 years old. So far we've been on the market now for about 8 years, and we're going to make that 10 years easily. We've got the Bluetooth that comes with it, so everything you see in the level you're going to see in the Bluetooth. We've got some really cool features built into it as far as image mapping, augmented reality, and things of that nature, where you can, since we're connected via Bluetooth, you can actually walk a job site and drop your readings into the app, which is recorded in a photograph in one instance, and by CSV file and DXF file, which uploads into virtually every design program on the market. So there's huge advantages there to using this above a laser, what have you. And now here's a little video we're going to play. And if anybody wants to stop me in the middle of this, just let me know, and I'll stop at the end of it, and we'll go through and answer some questions and things. And let me know, make sure, Olivier, that you can hear the sound okay when I start this plan.
I'm Mike East, the owner of Smart Level, and I'm here to tell you how this construction altimeter is going to save you time and make you money on a job site. Smart Level does everything a laser does, just a lot faster and a lot easier. Smart Level gives you a digital readout as opposed to the story pole and a laser beam. That laser beam may hit the story pole at 29 7/16 of an inch, and you've got to do math the rest of the day. Not everyone in the crew can do that. Typically, you'll have one laser trained person per crew. If that gentleman is off that particular day, you're kind of out of luck. I had a 10-year-old girl level base grade in a swimming pool with a dad in an excavator using Smart Level. What you'll do is you'll set either the level down on the surface itself, your benchmark, or you put it on the monopod, and the tip of your monopod comes your reference point. Zero it, then all of your readings are in inches and fractions above or below your benchmark or your reference point. Smart Level is very easy to see in daylight, and you don't have to worry about going around instructions. We've got 100 foot of tubing, which gives you an immediate 200 foot working area, and it's easy to leapfrog that basically to the size of a football field or larger if you need to. We have a range function built in with Smart Level. So similar to a laser, you get lights. You can set the range to a certain distance, say 1/2 of an inch if you're putting in field grade and you want it level. You'll get lights, a green light if you're within that. If you're over, you'll get a blue light. If you're below it, you'll get a red light. One of the really cool things with Smart Level is we've got an app that connects to it via Bluetooth. So everything you see in the level, you're going to see in the app in real time. You can actually put the app in an excavator, and the man in the excavator can see everything in real time that the gentleman in the dig is seeing. This is a really cool feature. It eliminates you shutting the machine down, misunderstanding what the gentleman is saying. You're seeing what he's saying, easy peasy. We've got the area calculator. Now with the area calculator, you don't have to buy anything. It only works in the iOS or the Apple version right now, iPhone, iPad, or what have you. It will be up in Android later. It's a little iffy as to when it'll be up, but you can go all the way back to an iPhone 8, and you don't have to buy anything to use that. It will record the area and also figure the volume, and also figure the And all you have to do is go to our website on that, smartlevel.us, download the app, and you've got that function completely free. It will also figure percent of slope, and it will figure engineering scale, which is hundredths of a foot above or below sea level. It won't tell you the height above sea level. You have to have a datum that you go by or a benchmark where you know. But if you zero it in, say it's 327.68 feet above sea level, all of your readings will be added to or subtracted from that. It saves a tremendous amount of math if you ever use engineering scale. Now, we're getting into some really cool things now where Smart Level connects via Bluetooth to the app. We've got image mapping. You can take a photograph just with your phone. You can drop the height readings and distance readings directly into that photograph. Get rid of the legal pad where you're scratching everything out. This looks so much more professional and records so much more data than the old-fashioned ways of writing everything down by hand. If you've got a drone or an overhead image, you can actually walk the site. It's a one-hand operation if you put it on the monopod. As fast as you walk the site, you've got all of your height, distance, and direction readings dropped into a photograph, and the app will actually create your X, Y, and Z data for upload into every design program. If you can't get a good overhead image, and you can do that with Google Earth, or like I say, a drone's gold, we have AR mapping, where we use the augmented reality function of the phone to actually measure your distance readings on the ground. And of course, the Smart Level will drop your height readings in. Once again, this will upload into every major design program on the market and save, sometimes it saves an hour per design. It can save you 3 hours work on every project just in writing all of your figures down, uploading them into your design programs the way that it should be, and it standardizes that process. We're becoming an industry standard for mapping areas. You may not have an in-house design, a design team. If you don't, and you've just got the largest design that you've ever done and you want it done professionally, you can record all of your ground elevations with Smart Level, email it to anyone in, well, I say North America, in the world virtually, and they have a standard format that's easily uploaded and understood into every design program on the market. So there's a lot of advantages to using Smart Level to save you time and money on the job site. I'm Mikey.
Okay, guys, so that's my first video, and this is a good pausing point. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions? I'm going to go into some of these things in more detail as we fresh in your mind right now. Is a good time to bounce some stuff around if you've got something that you're wondering. Now, as I mentioned, most of my customers, probably at least 90%, and in some areas maybe 95%, are Apple or iOS users. It seems like people that are solid engineers, designers in electronics and what have you, they like Android. But folks that are designing hardscapes and what have you are more artists, and the iOS or the Apple tends to lend itself more toward the Apple side of things. If you're an Android user, basically you have almost all the functionality. You got 75% of all the functionality in Android. You don't have the AR function where the phone can actually look at the ground and measure ground distances by itself. If you want that feature, you can go all the way back to any device that you can still upload the latest iOS operating system onto. Last time I checked, I think it went all the way back to an iPhone 8 or what have you. That Apple device doesn't have to be hooked into any kind of a program. You upload all your data via email, so you can just do that when you're around any kind of an email connection. So if you're an Android user and you want all the functionality and you don't have a problem swapping over and using an iPhone some, you can grab somebody's old iPhone that's not even on a service plan anymore, and it'll work okay for you. Everybody clear on this so far? All right, cool.
I'm Mike.
Now, this is going to be, it's going to repeat a couple of things. We're going to start off showing the range function, which is pretty cool. But basically, you need to lay the reel down somewhere in the middle of the job site. You can zero your reference point anywhere you want to. It's not in relation to where the reel is setting, but you don't need to move that reel while you're working. If you do, you need to come back and recheck your 0 point. So I'm going to play this next video here, and we can go through that. And if anybody has any questions, after we go through the range function here on the beginning of it, it'll just show you some practical uses on the job site in the construction end.
Smart Level is a precision construction altimeter that does basically everything a laser does. It just does it with a digital readout. It takes the math out of it, and it makes it much more easy and simple to understand what you got. With a laser, you may have the laser beam that hits the story pole at 29 and 17.
I repeat that a lot.
You got to add and subtract the rest of the day. With Smart Level, you just set this on your frame, zero it, And then anywhere you set the level in relation to where you started will tell you how high or how low you are. You've got a reel that you set in a central location. You got 100 foot of tubing that gives you a 200 foot working area. So basically what we do is we just walk over to the starting point. We've got two buttons, power button that turns it on and changes it from inches to fractions and what have you. And then we've got a zero button. We're going to get over here and we'll zero it. Then we're going to put it into range mode. Once we put it into range mode, we've got a green light if we're within range. And as we walk down the forms, as quickly as you set it on the form, you're going to get a valid reading. Just a little bit higher there. I may set it on a little higher. Set it here, see? Yeah. Yeah, basically we're within range there. Very close. And we're pretty close there. So they've done a pretty good job on this. So basically, as fast as you walk a job, you can tell what you got. With a laser, we would be finished with this entire job checking it before you get a laser set up and even get started. And there's several ways that we can document this also. So the level works around obstructions. You can go around the house if you want to, anywhere you can snake this tubing over, around, or behind anything. We've got a monopod. If you don't want to bend over and you zero it on the monopod, the tip of your monopod becomes your reference point. So smart level is basically a simple man's laser. Very easy to use and very quick and efficient. Ideally, what we're looking for over there we're looking for a 104.5 down there. Yeah, we're at 105. That's pretty darn close. Very nice. Yeah. 98. Yeah, 98. Right now.
So one of the advantages with smart level, obviously they're digging this out for a pool. If you zero the level at the top where the top lip of the pool is going to be, and say the pool is supposed to be 6 foot 4 inches on the bottom, and you're going to put 6 inches of gravel in, that's 6 foot 10 inches. The level will actually say minus 6 foot 10 inches when you're the depth that you should be. It makes it so much easier. It eliminates the math. And this big guy that's walking and holding the level, this was his first week on the job. I talked with him for a little while. He didn't know what a laser was. So it broadens the workforce as far as people that can actually give you valid measurements and readings. It takes all the figuring out of it. This makes it more simple.
6 inch base. Probably do like 16. From 6 to 7 and 7/8.
Yeah.
And then on this top shelf will be about 52.
Yeah. Yeah. So it should be 1.5 inches. Yeah. And the whole thing's on a slight slope.
Yeah.
Okay.
True, when he lifts this fucking they pull the smart level before it. Yeah.
We've got a little monopod that'll go over the top of your grade stakes and rest right on your string line collar. It's kind of tough to get even a laser story pole right on that string line because you push it down if you don't watch it. It's so fragile.
I can read exactly what he's reading on the top of that screen. Yep.
Now this feature right here, it sells a lot of levels. This saves a lot of time and mistakes on the job site. You don't even, half the time the guy in the dig down there, he's thinking about what his girlfriend and him, they're going to a movie tonight or something. That doesn't take a lot of expertise to hold a stake and give numbers to a guy, and they don't pay attention to what they're doing. And with that last one, you could see we had the, I glitched too far. Anyway, with that last one, we had the dig sheet right in the excavator. So if you zero the level at the top lip of the pool, then that dig sheet is going to be the bottom of the pool, and you just have to add your fill, your grade onto the bottom of it. Super simple and easy. Any questions on anything we went through on that little video? I know y'all are like, sometimes I used to work at Lockheed. It was hard to get anybody to raise a hand and ask a question when we were going through presentations. All right. This is a gentleman Well, just listen to him. I love it when you get a customer like this. Andrew, these are the guys you want. These guys sell more levels at the show than I do. They come up behind the customer and come out with a line like this.
So this thing right here saves us so much time and effort on job sites. Unreal. This thing is dummy proof, all right? And you can hand this to anybody on a job site. Guy that just started the first day, give this to them, plus minus, bam, set up.
Man, that's awesome. And
So that's how simple and easy it is. Now, the level is really tough also. Some of the other altimeters out there, you have to be very careful. You don't want to step on the tubing. You don't want it falling off into the gravel and what have you. The smart level was actually designed for the construction industry. It's tough and ready to go. I've got videos. I may have a video in here of skid steers actually running over the tubing. We don't recommend that, but you don't have to worry about being too careful with it.
So this.
Now, I'm not going to go into all the things that Smart Level does. We do, if you want to really dig into this, we got an FAQ page on our website, smartlevel.us, and you can get into all the little nitty gritty on that. I can talk for 2 hours, and a lot of times, if people are interested in this, I'll start going kind of down the rabbit holes with them. But one of the things that I didn't realize would be applicable in the hardscape industry is engineering scale, and that is feet and hundredths of a foot above or below sea level. A lot of engineers use that scale instead of just regular inches and feet. The Corps of Engineers around Nashville, where I'm from, basically any school, courthouse, or any government facility down there that was built by the Corps of Engineers, they're not going to give you readings that are in just fractions of an inch. It's going to be feet, maybe 326.68 feet above or below sea level. The level will actually figure that out for you, which eliminates a tremendous amount of math. And this is one of the things where being an industrial computer really comes in handy, because we didn't have that feature when we started. I ran into 3 engineers in the course of about 3 months at different trade shows that wanted it. And the engineering on that was pretty simple, so we factored it in. So if you come up with something you think, I wish the level could do this, that, or whatever, let me know, because if you wish it could, there's probably somebody else that wishes it could. And the only thing between making that happen is just the cost of engineering. And if enough folks want it, obviously that cost of engineering will be justified, and we'll put it into effect. We typically come out with at least one new feature every year. And all you have to do to get that feature, the person that bought the first level 8 years ago has got all the features of the level that was made yesterday, because we're an industrial computer and we just upgrade it, like I say, like you do your laptop. Now we could go through all the button functions on here, but I'm not going to, I can make this presentation last a couple of hours, and I'm not going to do that to everybody. Basically, you've got 2 buttons. You've got the power button that turns it on. The power button also, once you turn it on, you can scroll through the readings and get metric if you want it to read metric. You can get feet and inches, or you can get inches. In other words, if the height was 24 inches, it would either read 2 feet, 0 inches and the fractions, or you can make it read 24 inches. So you change that with a power button for about 30 seconds. After you stop adjusting it, it locks so that you can't accidentally change the scale while you're using the level. Like I say, there's 2 buttons on there. That's the functions of one of them. The other button is your 0 button. Wherever you set the level, you create your 0 or your reference point. Typically, you'll do that somewhere that's like a concrete deck or something that's not going to move. A huge advantage over Smart Level over a laser is you can come back next day or a year later, doesn't matter where the reel is, zero the display on that same 0 point, and all of your readings are going to align with all of them that you've taken before, even if it was 10 years beforehand. With a laser, unless you set that laser up exactly the same place every time you set it up, you're going to have different readings. So that's a huge advantage there. Also, with the 0 button, you've got a backlight. So if it's getting dark or you're underneath, I have some home inspectors that use this underneath the house, you can turn the level on and see it in complete black. The level lights itself up, so it doesn't have to be, you don't have to hold a flashlight and hold the level both at the same time. To use the Bluetooth, you'll hold the 0, tap the power, and release the 0, and that activates the Bluetooth. You get a little icon, and all these instructions are printed right on top of the level on our FAQ page. This video is on our FAQ page. Then to put it in range, you hold the power button and tap the 0, and hold the 0 button, tap higher, and release the 0, and that'll put it in range function on you. And like I say, that's printed right on top of the level and on the FAQ button. And when you download the app, all of our FAQs are the bottom button on the home page. So you've always got instructions with you when you're in the field. You don't have to worry about losing your instructions, throwing them away. You don't have to worry about them getting outdated, which was a huge problem because 8 years ago, we printed most of our instructions to start with. But by the time the levels would sit maybe, a few weeks in a distributor and would be sold, those instructions may have been upgraded. So pretty much all of our instructions are online now, so we can upgrade things as we upgrade the levels. Here's an engineering scale. Now, I'm not going to go through all these. I've got them built in the PowerPoint presentation. So if everybody wants to see these individual functions, you can. But the engineering scale just gives you feet and hundredths of a foot above or below sea level. It won't tell you your height above sea level. You have to have a datum. They'll have an engineer's stake that'll say 326.25 feet above sea level. You'll zero the level there, and then it will give you your feet above or below sea level. There's a range function. You kind of saw that brief range function in the second video that I showed you. There's that's actually a video showing using the engineering scale with a set of prints. And on these prints, I had one of my, actually this was Jake down in Atlanta called me. He said, Mike, I've got blueprints here. And he said, what is 325.68? What the heck does that mean? I said, that's engineering scale. He'd never seen it before. So all he had to do was zero the level on their datum, and it just took all the figuring out of it. Other than that, him and his crew would have had a heck of a time actually finishing that job. There's the range function. Now, I won't get into this in too much detail, but you've got 100 foot of tubing on the reel. So if you put the reel in the middle, that gives you a 200-foot circle to work in. Now, if you zero the level in a certain place and say move the reel to the west 100 foot, then you can go past the reel 100 foot, and that gives you 200 foot to the west. Then if you come back to your central point and move the reel 100 foot to the east, then you can go 200 foot to the east from your central starting point. So that gives you a 400 foot immediate area off of the same reference point. And that some people pick that up immediately. Some of them have to think about it for just a second. If you need to come back to that, I can answer those questions for you. But basically, you can take the level and do what we call leapfrog and go an indefinite distance if you want to. Just because it's got 100 foot of tubing, you're not limited to that first 200 foot working area. There's an area calculator that's built into it. I don't know how many of you still use the Carter wheel or something similar, but you can actually walk a job site with the level on the in the Apple function. You can't do this in Android just yet. And it will figure your ground, it will measure your ground distance. And if you know you want 10 inches of gravel or what have you, it will figure how many cubic yards of gravel it takes to fill a certain weird little area. And you don't have to buy anything to get that. That's a free function. You just download the app on an Android device and you've got it.
This is Mike. He's the owner.
And that's running through it, showing you. This is where I mapped it out. You can see how I walked the area here. And you just walk it with a smart level pointed at the ground and tap it as you're walking, and it gives you all of your ground readings like you would with a Carter wheel. It's about the same accuracy. It's about accurate to about 1%. Now, this is where you can take a photograph and drop readings directly into a photograph. If you can do this with an overhead drone and actually get it scaled properly and load it into design programs, but a lot of people don't need that. In the left image here, they simply wanted to verify how level that pool was, because these things move around some as they're filling them with water and backfilling it with gravel and what have you. And the contractor wanted to make sure that everybody knew this pool was as level as he wanted it. So he just backed up with his phone, took a picture of the pool, and then wherever you set the level, he'd set the level down where these readings are, and just click that point in the photo, and it drops the readings right into the photo. There's a lot of ways to use the image mapping. The center, actually on the right here, was a retaining wall where they did the same thing. And I know I'm breezing through this pretty quick, but we're up to a half an hour now, and I'm going to be close to my 45 minutes probably by the time we stop. Anybody got any questions or anything on this so far? All right, we'll keep on plowing through then, guys.
Mike, I got one thing for you, buddy.
Yeah.
It's important to remind the guys, because I worked with this product in my construction days when I was running a crew, right? And just the savings you can have and just having accurate readings and what you have to dig out and what you have to put back in, and compared to a transit and just having a one-man operation and going out and measuring a site is an absolute game changer. Like, it just, the accuracy you get off this as far as materials out, materials back in, pays for itself very, very quickly.
It can pay for itself on one job if you miss a retaining wall.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do that. Created by Nature folks, very high-end design company out of the West Coast. They missed a retaining wall, and it was a $10,000 addition. And it was a big job, so the client swallowed it and went on. But somebody's going to have to swallow that 10 grand, and it's a lot easier when you've got all your readings down, especially when they're digitized. And it's easy to show the homeowner too. If you've got a slope across the backyard and it's 6 foot slope, and you're going to need a small retaining wall in there. If you've been doing hardscape for years, you can see that, it. But trying to explain that to a novice that says, no, that's level. There's maybe a foot, maybe 2 foot, but not 6 foot. When you've got a digital readout right there and he can take it and play with it, it makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. Now, this is where I popped a drone up. And this is actually a gentleman down here, Boarhog. If any of you know Dan with Boarhog, he's out of Cincinnati. This is his back deck. He lives about 3 minutes from me, actually. He bought a place and told me he was moving to Nashville. And I said, hey, I live in Nashville. Where are you? And he told me, and I said, man, I could walk to your place. I don't know if he wants me walking to it or not, but I could. But he's going to use this for carpentry. So I just popped the drone up so I could get a really good angle on it. And we used that photo and dropped all the readings in. So, the level has got so many different uses that people don't realize a lot of times until you need it. And this is where he measured his window sills and what have you to see where the deck was going to be. And there was about a 3-inch difference between one window and the other. So he's going to put his deck to the lowest one. And of course, you can always step down from that. This just tells you the button functions on the image mapping. Now, I've got this video is image mapping. It's about a 10-minute video. This is where what I prefer is popping a drone up overhead and getting a photograph and then walking the property. And as fast as you walk the property, you can drop your readings into that photograph. The level as you're walking is not only creating a JPEG photo with all your readings dropped into it, which that might be all you need to design it. If it is, fantastic. But if you want to take this to the next level, and there's all kinds of puns in using this level stuff, as you walk that property, the app is creating your X, Y, and Z data for upload into design programs. It's creating a 3D map of what you're walking that will upload into every major design program on the market. Now, I'm going to play enough of this to get you started out to kind of see how it works. But the whole video is only 10 minutes long, and I'm giving you a lot of information here. What I want you to do is realize the summary of what the level will do. And then when you need the meat and potatoes, all these videos are on that FAQ button in your app, and you've got them right there with you anytime you're using the level. So what we're going to do here is what's called image mapping. We're going to pop a drone up, take a photograph, and then we're going to drop some readings into that. And then you can upload that into Real-Time Landscape Architect or UVision in 90 seconds. Literally upload all your readings in 90 seconds, where it might take an hour and a half to drop those in by hand.
This is Mike East, the owner of Smart Level, and I'm showing you how to image map today. Now, image map is where we take a photograph of a job site and drop the readings directly into the image. It's gold. It's very easy to show the homeowner what you've got. It's my preference in the two methods of mapping. We have augmented reality where the phone actually measures the ground as we're going, like you're using your phone as a tape measure. That's my second preference. This is always my first. If you don't have a drone, you can do Google Earth, a satellite image. You can put your phone in satellite mode and do a screenshot, but you don't have near the clarity. The best clarity comes in with a drone, $300 or so for a decent DJI, and you get the entire backyard, everything that's there in real time in your photo is fantastic. So what we do, I set the level down on its side, a little more accurate if it's set on its side like this, as opposed to upright. I've already walked all of the tubing out to the farthest location. That keeps us from dragging the reel across if we need more tubing. You want your reference point is based on wherever you set the level and zero it out. But we don't want to move the reel because that factors into it also. If we move the reel, we have to come back and double check our benchmark for a zero starting point. So basically the short version of this, connect everything to the monopod, If we zero it on the monopod, the tip of our monopod becomes our zero or reference point. The concrete makes a good benchmark. It's probably not going to be torn up for many years. So I'm going to go into image mapping now. We're going to pull up a photograph of the job site. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I've got everything that I need.
Now, I didn't go into detail there, but basically any photo that's in your phone's photo library, the app has access to. So when I popped the drone up, I took a drone photo and put it in my phone's photo library. You can take a job site plan if you have that. Just take a photograph of it and double check that job site plan and put all your readings right into the plan. You could take a legal pad and sketch an area out, take a photograph of that and put that in and drop your readings onto it. So it takes just a little bit to wrap your mind around all of the things that you can use this image mapping for, but it's really cool.
And we're going to choose this. Now, wherever I'm standing in real life, I put the crosshairs. I'm standing around the edge here where it's showing 0 point. I drop my 0 reading in. Now, the image mapping is much more forgiving. As I say, you can come back a year later, pull this image up, and you can drop your readings right into it. Super easy peasy to do. I'm just putting the crosshairs right over my cones. I put these cones down to mark where I am if I don't have a good reference point. We're a little over, a little shy of 3 inches below where we started here. And basically, as fast as I walk, I can survey this. It's like having a surveyor in your back pocket. Exactly like having a surveyor in your back pocket. The second location is going to be, almost 1.5 inches lower than where we started. Now I'm going to make a little crisscross across here with the augmented reality, or the other, we would have to make a perimeter, create a perimeter first. And you have to walk a little bit farther. With this, I'm simply going to zigzag back and forth in the most efficient way I can come up with. Drop our readings in as we go.
Now, some people have don't understand exactly what we're doing here because it's so simple. Basically, anywhere you walk, the level knows how high you are. You have to tell it where you are, which is why I put the cones down on the ground. You can also spray paint the ground. I had a job in Nashville, which is where I live, where they were putting a swimming pool in, a gazebo, a hot tub, a couple of statues, and 2 or 3 different things. They had actually walked it out and painted the backyard where everything was going. And then I dropped the readings down on it. So there was no guessing on how many steps they needed between point A and point B, or the distance. The level is recording your distance readings now and your height. So you don't even have to have a computer program. You've got all that in a JPEG if you just want to look at it and figure it in your head. But if you want to do some really cool, intricate things, you can upload either the DXF file or the CSV file directly into your computer program, and you've got all of your elevation readings recorded accurately where they are for you. And it literally, in real-time landscape architect, takes 90 seconds. And a lot of the people that I'm talking to that are doing this by hand on a decent sized job, it's taking them an hour and a half. So 1.5 minutes compared to an hour and a half. Plus mapping it, you're not writing everything down on a legal pad and worrying about, did you get that right later? Plus, for crews that have multiple folks going out and bidding the job, you don't have 5 different ways that guys are bringing their data back into you. You've got one standardized method that not only your company understands, but pretty much every major design company across North America understands now, because I've got a lot of folks using this. So we pretty much standardized the way we can map a job site and share that data with our engineers and our design teams pretty much anywhere that you want to share it. Has anybody got any questions on this part so far? And all of these videos are in the FAQs. Of course, like I say, I'm giving you a lot of information that you go back and review this when you have time on the nights, weekends, or what have you. And I'll make sure everybody has my contact info so you can contact me for questions, because you'll always have questions on it's just a very versatile tool. It's pretty simple to use, but there's so many different things that you can do with it. And I'm probably, I think that's got a pretty good idea of actually how you use the image mapping on that. We're about 40 minutes into here, and I don't want to run over. So I'm going to skip through the rest of this pretty quick, but I've kind of given you the meat and potatoes on what we're doing here. Now, here's some of the designs that we've done with it. I did this parking lot This is the CSX parking lot in Jacksonville. This was an $8 million project they were working on. I mapped that project with those cars coming and going, running over the tubing. That's how tough the tubing is. And it didn't damage it. We mapped the entire, it took us about an hour and 20 minutes to map that parking lot. We also mapped the front of the buildings down here below. And this is when it's uploaded into a computer program. This was either UVision or Real-Time Landscape Architect, which is the easiest program to use. And it costs like $600 and you own it. There's no monthly fee or what have you. There's a close-up of it. This project, this gentleman bought a level, and he's like me, he's very hard-headed. He made his mind up. He was going to watch the videos, and he was not going to call me until he had finished this project. This is the first project this gentleman ever mapped, and he got it right. And it took him just a little longer to do it, but he didn't call anybody. He looked through the videos and watched the videos and actually did this himself. So the videos are pretty self-explanatory if you pay attention, but don't get hung up on something for 30 minutes. Look at the videos first. Don't call me and expect me to walk you through every aspect of using the equipment. I don't get those guys very often, but occasionally I will. So see if you can look it up first, but don't get stuck for 20 or 25 minutes on some. If you just can't get it, call me or text me. Typically, texting me and emailing me is your fastest way to get a response, because a lot of times I'm doing things like this, and I'll get back with you after I get a little break or what have you. But you can call if you like, and we'll talk one-on-one. But text or email is your fastest way to get back in touch with me. And I'm the one, typically I like to answer all these questions because I want to give you the straightforward, the quickest way to get you to the end of where you need to be. This is a project that was done in Canada. It's really cool. It was image mapping. You can see we walked the property on the left. There's the computer contour lines on the right. Here's the design on the left, and there is the finished product on the right. Now, this is really cool stuff. And once he started this pool down here, there was no bringing an excavator or anything around the corner of that building. So he had to stage all of his materials down there. Once he measured it with U-level, and I've got a 5-minute video where this guy's talking about this. It's really cool. If you want more information, you can watch the whole video. But he staged all of his building materials down there and didn't have to carry hardly anything in or out. It was a lifesaver for him. There's a finished project. Really cool stuff. Now, this is going to be, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail here. Basically, when you're mapping an area, everybody says, how many points do I need to drop in? The computer is going to assume from one point to another, it's a straight line. Now, that line can be up a hill or it can be down a hill. But typically, try to think, if you're stretching a string line from one point to the other, very tight, as long as it stays close to the ground, you're going to be accurate. Now, at the top of this, you'll see where we've got several lines and more points dropped in. This isn't a baseball field, but it looked like one. Those look like pitcher's mounds. So I didn't need to put any points in the middle, because if I stretched the string across there, it would have been close to the ground. But when you get to where the terrain's going up, get a point at the bottom of where it starts, at the top, and then however far across, and then back down the other side. Now, this will take just a little bit of looking at a property, and it doesn't hurt to get too many points. You're not going to hurt anything. And with the image mapping, you can always come back and drop more points into it. But that gives you a little bit of an idea on when you're mapping how many points you're going to need to put in. And there's a little trial and error. There's a little bit of a learning curve with that. Now, the augmented reality, the level, since the level is mapping the ground, you don't have a photograph behind it. You have a white background, which is why I like the image mapping better than the AR mapping. But if you've got a lot of trees and overhead cover, or you can't fly a drone because you're close to an airport or something like that, you can walk the property with the Apple version. Now, this is the one thing right here that you don't have in Android that you might want to use an Apple device for. You can walk under those trees, and the level will actually get your distance readings as you're walking and record it automatically. So you just don't have the background, and you have to finish this. You can't stop midway and come back and finish it later. So it's not as forgiving as the image mapping is. That's why this is my second method of mapping. But we've got two ways you can map terrain. And this is showing you how to do that. That video's in there. This is another app in the excavator. Let's see. Oh, also, compared to the competition. And I'm just about, actually, I'm a minute over right now, what I told you I'd be, Olivier. We're about to finish up. With the smart level, the tubing is, I've got videos of skid steers running over it. It's tough. I think one of those is right behind you. I'll show it to you. But that tubing just has a lightweight mineral oil. It's almost identical to Johnson & Johnson's baby oil. You could actually use Johnson & Johnson's baby oil to refill it if you needed to. That tubing goes over a brass bar. You can see it in the top left here. You just loosen that clamp, pull the tubing out if you happen to cut it, cut the bad section of tubing out. You'll hold everything lower than the reel so that the air will go out of the tubing instead of coming into it. Reconnect it yourself and you're up and running. You don't have to send it to Escondido, California or anywhere like that.
In this video, we're going to
And this is the last video I think I'm going to show you. This is how tough and durable the tubing is. We ran over that tubing at least 15, maybe 20 times that day. It's tough. We don't recommend that, but you're not gonna hurt it just stepping on it. Here's the FAQ button. This is the page. If you go to our website where all the stuff that I've told you and touched on is actually there in detail. And we can calibrate the level yourself if you ever need to. If you ever cut the tubing, you might want to check it to make sure that it hadn't impacted the calibration. If it has, simple 3-minute video. It's about a 5-minute process to recalibrate the level yourself. You don't send it in. Typically, these levels should be good for a decade once you buy them. You shouldn't have to send it anywhere if you don't want to. If you don't want to fool with it, you can send it back to the factory. We can fix it. We got a typical $100 minimum service charge. If we don't have to add any parts or anything, that typically covers any of the repairs that you have to do to it.
Okay.
And update the firmware. It takes 6 minutes, goes through the app. And we upload into basically every design program on the market. So I was 3 minutes over, but we talked about 3 minutes before we started. So I'm probably right on the money here, guys.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Mike?
Speak now or forever hold your peace. No, don't do that. You can always call or email me.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got his. We'll get you Mike's contact information, and yes, we can get that out to you afterwards. You just reach out to me, and I can pass that on to you. So yeah, all right. Well, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that, and yes, hopefully.
Thank you all for having me, Andrew. I really appreciate you setting this up and taking the time to meet with me, and I'm looking very forward to seeing what we can do in your. We don't really have anybody else in your area up there, so you're breaking new territory for us. Thank you.
I love it. Hey, yes, that's what we do with the Stone Depot. So, all
Cool.
right, awesome. So next is Johnny Perriman from Great North Hardscape Products. Johnny has been a landscape professional for 30 years now, recently selling his company, Mountain View Services, Inc., and moving to Great North Hardscapes. With his wealth of experience, Johnny will explain the best application for easy joint resin sand and the advantage of pricing this into all your jobs. He will also give us a brief rundown of Pave Tool products and why quality tools are worth the investment to your business in the long run. So yeah, without any further delay, Johnny.
Guys,
Johnny.
how are you today, guys? Mike, thank you so much, Mike. That's and that's the thing, boys. Go to Mike's website, his videos, and what his tool can do. I was a contractor for just about 30 years and got switched on to the smart level. Saved me thousands upon thousands of dollars with dig outs and what needs to go in and measuring sites out. It's for the cost on that product, it's a no-brainer. But and obviously you can see Mike's a pretty excitable guy, so he'll take care of you. So it just cares about what he does. So I love it, Mike. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here, Pop. So yeah, Andrew mentioned I just like most of us, I started running a wheelbarrow when I was 15 and decided by the time I was 21, I was the smartest person on the planet, so I should start my own company, and partnered up with a guy that had a maintenance company. So we went from, in about 2021, we went from 6 people doing about $120,000 in maintenance to, by the time I sold the company just at the start of the pandemic there, we had about 35 people depending on the season, and we were doing a little over $4 million. So some growth, and just tired. I'm not getting younger. Everything hurts all the time now. So I've always had a great relationship with Attilio, Tara, John, the team at G&H. I was their guinea pig for years and years. As soon as they bring in a new product, it'd show up in my shop and we'd go try it out. So when I sold the company, it was a good opportunity to come help them out. So So I'm your rep for G&H out east, and I cover a good portion of Ontario as well. And similar to Mike and Andrew, and you guys will end up with my contact info. Will give me a call. We've been covering Canada for over 35 years now, which is Hardscape Solutions, right? Every job, as soon as you put a shovel in the ground, doesn't matter how pretty your drawing was, things change. You got to figure out how to deal with your product. You got to figure out how to deal with site conditions, and that's what we do best, is find workarounds from adhesives and sands and edgings and lifting tools and just tools to install that I'm going to go through today. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with us today. I'm going to start changing sharing my screen here, and I've got a bit of a slideshow for you guys as well. So we'll walk through that and figure out how we can help. So like I said, we've been operating for over 35 years. We're Canada-based, family-owned company. And just we have from anything that I've dealt with, we have the best of the best as far as the hardscape industry goes, as for tools and solutions and knowledge. Between we have myself and two other reps in Ontario. We have our rep out of Quebec. He's ICPI certified. I know they changed their name recently. I can't remember what it is, but and we've got a gentleman out west that's also been in the industry for a number of years, that just takes care of what you guys need. And as a distributor, so we are a distributor. We help people like the Stone Depot out. We supply landscape dealerships with things like Easy Joint, all of the Pave Tool line, obviously Mike's line of Smart Level, Weber, Packers, Halder mallets, Ruby tools. We're seeing a lot of porcelains come on. We're seeing it come out of Quebec pretty quickly here. So we're trying to get in front of that with cutting and installation solutions. Snap Edge is our kind of our flagship brand. That's where we started with the edging products and developed everything else from there. The Tough X line of wheelbarrows, concrete mixers, carts, SEK Sherbon as far as sealants, cleaners, things like that. And beyond that lineup, we have numerous grids, fabrics, adhesives. We have different sands beyond that. So we're kind of a one-stop shop. So the one thing that Andrew and I really wanted to talk about today was our Easy Joint line, because it's kind of a sleeper out there, because it's a resin sand that you install wet, right? So it's a very, very useful tool for the shoulder seasons when you're finishing up a patio in March, but it's misting that day, when you're trying to get something done in November. It's not a clear, bright day. It's a little bit damp. So, but at the same time, we can all agree we've all been in that point where the job's gotta get done. You gotta move on. You don't want to have to wait to install tomorrow or in the spring. This is where Easy Joint can come in, right? And especially with Easy Joint, you can do from 1/8 of an inch to 5 inches. So I know a lot of your installs out there will involve some flagstone and then up to a patio, right? You can use the same sand for every application, right? And it doesn't matter the weather, right? Down to, so according to the website, they're saying down to 3. I've installed easy joint at colder than 3 degrees, and it holds, right? Because we all know there comes a point in time in the month where Friday and guys got to get paid and the fuel bills got to get paid, and you want to be on another job site. And you can, and the beautiful part about easy join is the wetter the better. Like, and once we're done with this slide, we'll walk through a video here, but you need water on it, and you've got no hazing, you've got no dust, it's less cleanup, and it's just a simple solution for a tough spot, right? So it's just something that can help you work through, right? And as I move through a couple slides here, I've got a bit of a breakdown. Andrew and I talked about pricing that you guys see every day, and the price difference isn't going to make or break a project for you. So it's just an easy answer for a tough situation, right? We all need to move on from a project sometimes. So take a quick look at this video, and then we'll talk more about easy join as we move on here.
Easy Joint, the original sweep in all weather paving joint compound. Rain or shine, it goes in fine. All you need to apply Easy Joint is a soft broom and hose with a spray nozzle. 2 people working together ensures that Easy Joint stays wet during application and cleanup. Water helps the compound penetrate the joints, washes away any oil residue, and removes any excess compound. For best results, the site should be free draining, and the pavers or natural stone need to be laid with joints at least 1/4 inch wide and 1 inch deep. Team pavers with joints of 1/8 inch, the use of a plate compactor may assist with filling the joints. Remember, the wetter, the better. To get started, you'll want to thoroughly soak the pavers before the application process. Next, cut open the vacuum pack bag and pour the Easy Joint directly onto the paving surface, using the hose to saturate it thoroughly, constantly. Now, sweep Easy Joint into the joints, making sure the paved surface and Easy Joint stay wet throughout the process. Be sure to fill any sagging joints. Easy Joint should finish approximately 1/8 inch below the top of the finished surface, or 1/8 inch below the chamfer on concrete pavers. Do not let the excess Easy Joint sit for more than a few minutes, especially in hot weather conditions. Remember, the wetter, the better. Next, gently hose and sweep away any excess compound. As an optional step, a joining tool may be used for the desired finish. Lastly, place the unused product back in the container and cover with water for later use. Easy Joint, rain or shine.
Perfect. So that gives a brief coverage of it, right? But, and of course the video they put out, they have the guys setting it in a perfectly sunny day, but you can understand what they're dealing with. And the only problem when I was using this, the only problem that I bumped up against was having 2 guys having to deal with, because you have to keep it wet. That's the key, right? If you're putting it on dry pavers, it's gonna just stick to them. You've got to get the pavers wet. You've got to get water onto it, right? So the one answer that we have is in our next video. So what we call the Hydro Broom, okay? So it is a broom that you literally hook up to your hose, and it puts water on there for you.
The Hydro Broom is a special broom to simplify easy joint application. by keeping the right amount of water exactly where you need it. Using the Hydro Broom, as opposed to the traditional method of a regular broom and hose, can also free up a person to do other tasks, helping your team be more efficient and get more done. The Hydro Broom's head is uniquely designed with special bristles and water distribution channels to evenly disperse the water throughout the entire width of the broom head. The handle has a water hose attachment and an adjustable valve. This allows you to control the amount of water being dispersed by the broom. The Hydro Broom is constructed of durable, powder-coated aluminum. This durable construction can withstand years of constant use, making it a valuable tool for both easy joint application and a host of other cleaning jobs. The broom is very easy to assemble. Simply remove the screws from the head and screw the handle into place. The Hydro Broom has a gentle cleaning action, which is perfect for all surfaces around your home. You no longer need to worry about the damage associated with high-pressure cleaning. The Hydro Broom allows you to safely clean without the hassle of firing up a high-pressure washer. Simply connect to your water hose and start cleaning within seconds. The Hydro Broom also features low-pressure water dispersal, which eliminates water spots on walls, tools, and supplies. Clean exactly where you want without the nuisances that come with high-pressure cleaning. So, whether you are applying easy joint or doing cleanup around your house, patio, deck, or construction site, get your work done faster and easier with the help of the Hydro Broom. Visit your local dealer to purchase the Hydro Broom today.
So they came up with some wacky stuff at the end there, but if the Hydro Broom for the easy joint takes a person out of the equation, right? And apparently you can clean your siding and your trailer with it as well. So that's cool. That's just a good plus. So when we get into sands for your job sites, sands are realistically less than 1% of your budget, right? So for me, when I was building projects, if I did a 12 to 15K project, which would involve a small front walkway and a little front garden, right? I'm doing it in 2 days and bing, bang, boom, done and paid, right? So if we're doing one step and a little walkway, let's call the walkway 200 square feet, right? Just to get out around the corner of the garage. And so if we're doing 200 square feet, and I base this off a Permacon Mega Melville, because everybody's making stones bigger and bigger and bigger and making the joints smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you're doing 200 square feet, you're going to use a bag and a half of poly, which equates to about 3 tubs of easy joint. Easy joint, depending on joint size, you're gonna do about 70-75 square feet with a bag with a tub of easy joint. Okay, so and Andrew was nice enough to pass along his numbers so that I can use real numbers for you guys. Okay, so if you're using Technoseal Pro HP, and again, we can all agree that with different sands, you've got different qualities, different capabilities, right? And the easy joint is the only one that's going to do from 1/8 to 1 inch to 5 inches gap space, right? But with what with what the team at Stone Depot is carrying right now, Technoseal Pro HP is probably the closest comparison, right? So let's say on that 200 square foot walkway, you need 2 bags, right? You're going to take a little home with you if you're careful, depending on what the guys are doing that day, right? So your cost is going to be $64.58 on the Technoseal. For easy joint, yep, we're at $74.99. Yep, you need 3. So you're at 200, just a little under $225, right? So we're dealing with a budget difference in your books of a little over $160. Are you guys losing a job over $160? Right? Or how much is it going to cost you to go back if it's raining, if it's this, if it's that? Or would it be easier to just price in the easy joint into your budgets? And if it is a nice, beautiful, sunny day and everything's working out perfect, for sure, use the Pro HP, right? It's a good sand. But if you build that 160 into your budget, and if it is a horrible day and you're wrapping up the project and you want to get out of there, then you've got it built into the budget, right? Then you're out of there. And you know, I find that every time that I've had to go back for a job, oh hey, we missed a step, oh hey, we missed that, all of a sudden the wife has a grocery list of what else is wrong. It's, oh, this paver's tipping. Oh, this cut isn't 100%. Oh, is that tree straight? I don't think that's the right variety of this perennial, right? So I've always found the faster I can get off a job site and get paid, the less headaches, the less phone calls, the less emails that I have to deal with. So that $160 looks real cheap, real quick, right? And even if you guys do end up sending a guy back to go deal with it, you're not sending your A guys, you're sending number 2, number 3, and as soon as questions come up, he doesn't have real good answers for them. So it's going to end up being you that goes back there and deals with it, right? So that's just something that I want to talk to you guys about today. Is just it's for sure sticker price is shocking, but if you start thinking about getting it paid, getting the headache off your plate, getting the job done, then all of a sudden things start looking pretty reasonable, right? So no, it's just something to consider and an option we have, right? And we've got 4 colors and they're great colors. I know Andrew's got some in stock, and it's just an option and something, and that's it. I agree, this isn't an everyday product, but that's where we come from as Great North Hardscape. We're a solutions-based company, right? You guys give me a call. Hey, we're in a pinch. All right, let's figure it out, right? So it's this is something that can get you guys out of a pinch in a hurry for not a lot of money. So just something to consider, something we can talk about, okay? And then we want to talk about tools. And again, when I was a contractor, I used NDS boxes and built them into patios and on and on and on. And if you look at in the top left of this, we've got our quickie adjustable drain. And I wish I had known this existed. And I've got a little video I'm going to show you after this slide. But if you think about just the way this is adjustable, and I've got pictures of the stainless one up here, but we also have a gray plastic one available. And we've got our wall spillways and our wall drains, and especially given the amount of moisture you guys are dealing with and the amount of hills you guys are dealing with, the number one cause of failure in wall is not drained properly behind it, right? So let's get that water away from there. Those drains you can see in the bottom left, the black portion is the only portion that's open. So all those top parts you can cut off to suit whatever wall stone you're using. So you can tailor it exactly to what you're working with. The wall spillway is pretty self-explanatory. And now I'll fire into the video of the adjustable drains because I can't explain it well enough, and they do a great job of it.
I'd like to talk to you about our adjustable drain, which has tremendous amount of benefits for the hardscape industry. A unique product, which has the ability to raise up and down. We built it in this fishbowl type of container so that you can really see the benefits of how this tool actually works. This product works. It's got a stainless steel decorative top on it, so really decorative. Does lock in, and when you do receive it, it comes in a nice box with instructions in there, directions. This is what you will get. And again, this pipe locks into your SDR35 or your triple wall. It fits in just a standard fitting. I have it set up today in the T, so obviously your flow line would be out this way. But that's just going to drop down in. Generally, I would glue that. It has 3 inches of play or elevation up and down. So I would generally set it in the middle, do all my backfill and compacting. I can set my height with my laser rod, get it roughly to the exact height that I need. Then I can backfill, soak it, water it, compact it, get it just right. I can scrape my sand. I can even lay my pavers. And then last minute, this here fits on here with your, you can either use a wrench, you can use a drill like this, but it's neat because it has the 3 inches of travel. So I can adjust this at any point in time on my job site. Like I said, I'll normally install it, backfill, compact, lay my pavers. And then after I cut my pavers, then I can automatically set my elevation about an 1/8 inch below the chamfer. I can sweep and compact. Another unique thing about the drain is it's always, you can adjust the angle of it too. So it swivels. So if my pattern comes in on a little bit of a skewed angle, I can automatically move that so it's nice and parallel. So a lot of unique advantages, a lot of adjustability. Say in a year's time, and I know this never happens to any of you, but you do get a little bit of settlement here. I break my bond loose against the pavers for my polymeric sand. Take my, again, a ratchet or a drill, whatever. I can lower it, take a hand tamp or a hammer, and reset my level to get my water to my drain. A lot of unique benefits to our adjustable drain by Pave Tool.
So there you go. I mean, I dealt with NDS buckets for most of my career, didn't know those things existed. That would have been pretty cool just to be able to do that quick up and down on any kind of settlement you may ever have is a game changer. And that's the stainless steel edition. They also do come in just a gray plastic, which is a little bit of a cheaper option, but for things like that, in my experience, homeowners are willing to pay a little bit more if you explain to them the benefits of getting rid of the water. And again, back to Phil's comments on it just being a nice finish, right? So just because I've always found that a lot of designers, a lot of installers don't take enough, don't give water control and drainage enough thought on it. So I hope you guys are thinking about it, and it's certainly helps you out in a lot of very different ways. So I like that product a lot, and I wish I had known about it about 20 years ago. So I'm going to move on to some of our other tools. So I stole essentially when we're keeping track of what we're selling, we kind of have our top 20, and I kind of sorted through some of those. You can see I'm literally giving you guys pricing here, so you know what kind of numbers we're looking at, because a lot of times I get that's too expensive, and you know, we're certainly not cheap, but at the same time, for what you're getting, we're not expensive. But the only thing that I'll say is this is our 2025 pricing, and doesn't include shipping and on and on and on. So we're still waiting on 2026, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys, that's always the first question I get, and that's always the first question I ask. I wanted to give you guys an idea as to the numbers we're looking at. So this is, just bear in mind that the pricing on these next few slides are just a guideline. Okay. So we've got these fireplace vents because I've built a pile of fireplaces, but the problem always is airflow, right? So these vents just essentially take up the same place as a brick. These are our two best sellers. We have different sizes on these, so there are other options available that will fit into different wall designs. But this gives you an idea as to what you can do. You get that down close to the patio, and then you're getting better airflow. They're getting a better fire, and it's taking up the space of essentially a brick for, you know, it's not a gentle price, but if you're giving the customer that wants a fire pit or the patio a better fire, then that's a pretty easy sell pretty quick, right? And then we've got our quickie screed package. Comes with 3 different lengths with the package. We also, it's not in our catalog yet, but we're carrying quickie screed rails this year as well. That actually, so it's a round tube with a honeycomb inside so it doesn't bend, because that was always my frustration with these screeding packages, is stuff gets bent, stuff gets a little warped, and all of a sudden you're losing accuracy. But with these quickie rails that we're bringing in this year with the honeycomb inside, you can't bend them. So, and with the 3 different sizes, a guy's standing up, he's dragging out your base material. You guys, I'm sure all you guys are using HPB or something very similar out there, Andrew, right?
Yeah, we have stocked aluminum screed rails. Kind of that is
Yep.
something we can stock. But yes, yeah, those it's good to hear that you guys are bringing those in this year.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And again, if you look at, we're talking about $550, but these are all lifetime tools, right? Because we, even if one of those portions gets run over or whatever, right? We have replacement parts in stock. This isn't something that you're buying once a year. This is something you're buying once and just carrying on with, right? And then we have our quickie grade rake. This is kind of where we all start at $162. You got 3.5 feet wide. I would be scared to figure out how many thousands of square feet I've graded out a patio with a quickie screed rake, but it's just a handy tool for the truck, right? And then the maxi square, right? So you've got 6 by 6 by 8.5, folds up, you fold it out, you build yourself a square, and it doesn't matter how many drinks the foreman had at the pub the day before. You don't have 2 guys laying out spikes and string lines. It's just in the truck. You fold it out, it's there. And again, just a forever tool. So just an easy thing to add to the trailer. And then we've got our easy clamps, quick, easy, safe. You're not wrapping straps around things. You're not wrapping chains around things, and you're lifting. And this is just these are the 2 that we sell the most. We have a range in between both of them. We have larger ones as well. just to safely slap down armor stones. And then we've got some of our smaller tools, the paver popper, just in case you need to adjust or fix or just change things up a little bit. It's got just tight little teeth on it, obviously replaceable. So you can pull if you've got a little dip in the middle of the patio, you can pull pavers out. If a paver gets a oil stain on it, you can pull it out of an existing install. Just a very, very handy tool that doesn't involve 2 screwdrivers and trying to break it out or cut. I've cross-cut pavers before and smashed it out with a hammer. With the paver popper, you can just you can just pluck it out of the middle. With the quick scribe, you can lay out your soldier courses. This is the best picture I could get for you guys. I didn't want to fire another video at you. If you look at Pave Tool or our website, we've got great videos of how they use it to measure out pavers, to cut against armor stone, to measure out your soldier courses, your sailor courses. Just a quick, easy tool. And the quickie hammer. Just the one thing is banging in spikes, and we've got our hybrid edge, which has even a bigger fin for it. But with this quickie hammer, just goes into a traditional SDS Max hammer drill and just pounds your spikes in for you, right? Sounds stupid, but it saves bending over. It saves bashing your hand. It saves this, right? It's just for $208, and I'm pretty sure each one of you will have one of these hammers in your toolkit somewhere along the line. It's for $208 to bang in spikes faster. It's again another solution, right? And then we've got the dual adjuster. So you've got a rubber head on one end and you've got a little spike on the other end. If you're doing large spaces, your lines are starting to get out of whack, the dual adjuster just takes care of it, right? Again, we're avoiding kicking it in with your toe and prying it out with a flathead screwdriver. And that $298 is better than 5 busted screwdrivers and your toe hurts at the end of the day. And we do carry the full lineup of halter mallets, from the stand-up wall mallets, the dead blows, the smaller mallets. You can get different configurations. I know Andrew and the team carry even replacement parts for it, because again, it's a forever tool. And in my experience, the more money I spent on tools, the more my guys took care of it. And to be perfectly honest, as soon as I started investing heavy in tools and equipment, I found a new level of staff members. Just the guys that would waste stuff didn't want to be there, and I was poaching people from other companies because they knew that we would take care of them. So it's a tough pill to swallow, but if you look at it in that you can buy 6 mallets from Home Depot for $20 each, but you run through those every single year. And I've been the guy that's had to go to Home Depot after I've been working a full day out pricing a project, but the guys need a new mallet tomorrow. And all of a sudden a $200 mallet shows up and it's still there. It's just, if you give guys good tools, they will take care of them. I found in my experience, it changed the mentality of our company. Was just, hey, no, we don't we don't do cheapy. Here's what we do. And everybody brought their level up a little bit. It was very interesting. And then we've got just quickie little lifters, the quickie slab, all these stone companies. I don't know who they think we are, but everything has to be bigger and smoother and thinner, and it just gets tougher and tougher to deal with and lift. So we've got with this small quickie slab, you've got 10 to 24 inches, 200-pound capacity. If you look between that gentleman's hands, there's a little hook there. So even if you have a small mini X on site or whatever, we can lift it and move it with that as well. And with the BL 180, the one thing that we've changed up this year is we've actually got little rubber booties that fit on either end. If you can see in that picture, they're spiked and abrasive, and they just keep thinking we want smoother and cleaner walls all the time. So we came out with rubber ends for that, so that we're not going to mar up the face at all or the edges. So just something that we've seen coming down the pipe is just everything's going to be bigger and smoother. It seems like in the industry. So we're just trying to keep up with that. And then, of course, we got the big clamps for dealing with steps, dealing with bigger natural stone. So, and again, these are just two of our best seller. On the BL 980, we actually have extensions that can bring it out an additional 10 inches, so that we've got a little, instead of just a smooth pads, it's more of a little feet on it, so that we can grab onto something that's a little more regular and still be safe, right? You don't want guys with hands and feet underneath those things. And then there's just a quick shot of my contact info. I know Andrew's going to help me out with your contact info. I'm going to make sure you guys get a hold of our catalog and a hold of my contact info, because that's it. We're the biggest little landscape company that nobody's ever heard of, and we do have all of the solutions, right? So that's it. And especially given between our company and our experience in the industry, we can farmer fix anything. Andrew and I have been talking this week, and we've got a guy set up with something that shouldn't happen, but it's gonna work, right? And it's just, every job's unique. As soon as you guys put a shovel in the ground, things change. So I just want you guys to keep me in mind in the team at Stone Depot, because we have solutions out here, but you don't know what you don't know till you ask, right? So that's that's pretty much what I want to leave you guys with.
All right. Do you guys have any questions for Johnny? Oh, yeah. Thanks, Johnny. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact that you're coming from the recent field. So it's one of those things where your company, you've sold it, I think you sold it in 2025. Is that correct?
No, closer to 2022, bud. Yeah.
Okay. So, but still within that, the challenges of the pandemic. So anyway, so it's either way, it's good. But yes, that's one of those things that you've worked with this stuff. You know the challenges. So that's good. I know there are a number of designers on here. For some of this stuff, you guys might be kind of saying, hey, what do I think for me, this is a good thing for you to pass on to the contractors you're working with. I know they trust your guys' advice a lot. So I know that's a big way that we want to help you guys out, is so that you know what's out there when these solutions are coming down. And again, I really appreciate particularly the resin sands. That's one of those things I know since probably 2020 I've been hammering away on, is that yes, listen, you're not losing a job over sand. And so, but you will end up hitting issues if all of a sudden it's like, well, I can't do this fall, or you're coming back in the spring, everything's settled, everything's, it's there's, you're sending guys in, now they have to clean up those joints from the mud and the gravel tracked in. So yeah, so anyway, that's just something, again, it's I think it's a win-win in my opinion if you price that in, because if you're using just regular polymer, hey, guess what? You just made more profit margins. And if you're do have to do it in April or work in April or November, you're covered. You're not going, well, I lost that bit of profit margins on that. So anyway, thanks, Johnny. Appreciate that. All right, third is Oliver Bridgman. I've been pronouncing it Oliver, but I know Mike said Olivier. So anyway,
It's either one. Olivier is fine, and so is Oliver.
all right. When I speak in French, I will francophone your
Yeah,
name.
exactly. That's usually it. Yeah, if we're speaking in French, you can call me Olivier. That'll be appropriate.
Perfect. So Oliver is the founder and CEO of Bridge Media, bringing over 20 years of digital marketing experience, focusing on the construction sector. Oliver will be speaking on how landscapers can assess and improve online presence using simple, no to low cost strategies and how to maximize your marketing budget. So I think that's very important in this day and age. I think we've all done the whole, hey, I'll get my partner or my kid to do my social media and then wonder why we're not getting any jobs and that sort of thing there. I know I've worked for 3 dealerships and I think I've ran social media at some point for all 3 of them. So anyway, Oliver is going to walk us through that. So without any further delay, here's Oliver.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate it. Feel free if you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, just let me know or write in the chat. I might not see it because it's kind of on to the side, but speak up. There's no problem. So thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate being here. I'll take a minute to talk a little bit about who we are and who I am. So as was mentioned, I'm the president of Bridge Media. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. So I actually started more doing computer science and programming. I'm the founder of Bridge Media as well. I also have an MBA. So I actually went back to school, business school in 2018. I was kind of the president of a Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship for a couple of years. So I was part of the board that put together this organization. And I'm also involved in a little bit of the construction boards in my area, which is in Quebec. So we actually have clients across Canada and the United States, but I'm located, me personally, in Montreal, just outside of Montreal. I also love snowboarding, so I like doing other activities with my daughter. And as a business, basically, we are really focused on the trades. It's kind of the way that I say it. Our biggest segment is hardscaping and landscaping, but we also work quite a bit with companies that do masonry. We have some companies that do roofing. We have some companies that are clients that do foundation work as well. That's a pretty big part. So we kind of bring our marketing expertise, but it's mainly oriented towards clients that are really focused in the trades. And we work not just with contractors, but we also work with dealers. We work with certain associations directly as well. We're helping them. And we work with certain distributors or manufacturers. So we kind of get an overview of what's going on in the space. And we like to bring our expertise and just help, with information and knowledge. So today, my presentation isn't going to be too complicated. Any questions so far? Jump right into it. Yeah, exactly. So 3 things I'm going to cover. Try to keep it short and simple, to the point. Basically, the economy is, I think there's been we never know what's going to happen, but I know that things are a little bit harder than they were during COVID times. I think during COVID times, a lot of people had a really, easy time getting jobs. If you were available and you had a crew and you could deliver work, basically, clients were just calling to see who could do work for them, and they had money to invest because they weren't traveling. Then there's been the after COVID where things have slowed down and kind of gone back. So I'm just here to give you guys, the first part will be some tips that you guys could do just to get some better visibility online that actually are no cost. So these are all things you should be able to do on your own. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit about how to evaluate your particular situation, set the right priorities. And if you are going to do some investing, I'll give you an idea of how to figure out what your budget is. And I have a little bit of a promotion at the end if you're interested. So first thing is, make sure you're requesting Google reviews from your previous customers. I sometimes do this before we do this presentation. I didn't have the time today, but normally I could kind of look up each of you and kind of see, what kind of Google reviews you have. It's really important to ask your clients to leave you a Google review. We actually found that this was so important. We actually developed our own mobile application. So we have a mobile app that we make available to our clients where all they have to do is put in the telephone number and click send. And that sends a text message to their client saying, hey, can you leave me a review? We realize that people often respond better when they get a text message than if they get an email, or if you ask them in person, but then by the time they get back into the house, you know, like you might be at the job site, they might be super happy, you're walking away, they're paying the final bill. Could you leave us a Google review? They might say yes, but you know, after that, they have to go back in-house, open up their phone or go back to their computer or their tablet, try to find you guys on Google, leave you the review. There's too much delay. So what we're saying is the key, you don't have to use our app. The key is try to make it really easy for your customers to find you on Google and make it super simple for them to leave you a Google review, and make sure that you're asking for it in a way that's timely, so that you're getting those Google reviews. Doesn't cost anything, and it has a very big impact on your credibility and how customers are going to, you know, if clients are going to decide to work with you or maybe with another company. Or I would say it also has an impact on your sales process, which means when you go meet a potential client, they probably have looked you up before. And if they're meeting 2 or 3 different companies and you have more reviews and you have a better rating than, you know, maybe the other guys, you're more likely to go into that house and have a better experience with that, you know, homeowner, and have more trust and credibility as opposed to, you know, the other people that will be showing up. In the same vein, you also have a Google business profile. So this is kind of a section that appears on Google for your business. Whenever this example, I did a search for Bridge Media, and you know, our Google business profile came up. Most of the time when you look up a business, if there is a profile on Google, you'll see it because it's going to be on the right-hand side. There's this, you know, kind of profile with information about your business. If you own the business and you've claimed it, you'll also have these tools that are on the left. So this section on the left only shows up if you're actually registered to manage this business profile with Google. So if you look up any business normally that has a Google business profile, you'll see the information on the right, but you'll only see the tools on the left if it's your own business that you've claimed. This section is super important because you can add a lot more information to your Google business profile than just the reviews. So the reviews are the, you know, the baseline, but you can put pictures of the work that you've done. You can have posts. You can include the categories of work that you can do, the services that you offer. And again, this really helps with Google, first of all, improving your ranking. So this is completely free, just something you guys can do on your own, or you can hire a company like us to do it. But it's basically, there's no cost to set this up. Google isn't charging you. They just like to know what you're offering, and having a complete, you know, Google business profile. It's going to help you with your ranking to show up better when people are doing searches. So if you do retaining walls, or if, you know, you lay down pavers, obviously, if you can do some, you know, I don't know, like softscaping as well, you can put that in. Then when people are searching for that, Google will know that it's part of the service that you offer and will more likely show you. And customers will review that information as well. So just, again, just really important to have that section up to date. The other thing is obviously posting on Facebook and Instagram. I've given a couple of examples of the type of publications that we see that really work well. So there's, you know, not just, hey, my name is, you know, Oliver today, you know, but there's actually different types of posts that you can use. So company profiles work pretty well. So you can talk about the strengths, the type of stuff that you guys do, how you do certain processes. It's kind of, you know, those reality TV shows where, you know, they'll do home renovation or whatever, like, you know, people are interested in knowing how the process works, right? It gives them confidence that you have a plan, that you're not just going to show up and do whatever, that there's actually a process that you're following. So being able to demonstrate that is really interesting, really important. Project portfolios, obviously, like with before and after pictures, or just portfolios of what you've done. Customer testimonials, these are a bit more tricky to get, but you can have them in writing. If you can get them in video, that's really powerful. If you can get a client who's really happy to say, you know, and ask them, hey, can we have a little testimonial video of you explaining, you know, what you thought of us? That's really, really powerful. That's going to go a long way. Showing your team at work, again, that is another way of creating trust and engagement. So you'll get potential clients to understand a little bit how you guys work if you're able to show videos of that. Sometimes technical explanations can be useful. They have to be used in a particular way that makes sense. You don't want to overwhelm people with technical complexity, but it is a good idea. I've seen videos where they'll say, you know, this particular yard had this challenge. Here's how we addressed it. We used, you know, this type of product, or we set up this type of system. You know, we made sure that, you know, for example, we, you know, water, we made sure we took care of the water drainage, for example. So it's not that people watching the video, you know, it's not a test. It's not like they're going to grade you. It's not like they're going to necessarily have the same problem. Behind all this, what you want to show is you want to show expertise. So you want the potential customer to think, oh, if they were able to take care of that problem, they could probably figure out something that's going on in my, in my situation or in my yard. These guys seem to know what they're talking about. They seem to be pretty, knowledgeable and have expertise. So yeah, I feel confident to get in touch with them. One of the underused, I think, is trends. So if you want to talk about trends, because I think hardscaping and landscaping, it's functional, but it's also lifestyle driven. Meaning you need something, right? But you could just put asphalt, right? You could just put asphalt or concrete. You could just put concrete everywhere. Why do we use, like pavers, and why do we put in, retaining walls? And there's a functional aspect to it, but there's also a lifestyle where we want to enjoy the space. We want to be able to use it. We want it to be, an aesthetic. We want it to be nice. So talking about trends, I think, is really important, and helping customers realize you can help them design a beautiful space if you have that expertise. So putting that forward, and then some promotions. So you don't just want to be pushing promotions, especially if you want to make sure that you're trying to get, I would say, the mid to higher end clients. Just be careful about promotions, because that can a little bit devalue though what you're putting forward. But people want to, know that they're getting value for what they're spending. Any questions? No? I'll keep going. Okay. And then updating your website. So make sure your website is up to date. These are the basics, right? So I figured I'd start with just the basic stuff, because it's surprising how often, we work with clients and just the basics are not there. So making sure that you have a contact page that's very easy to use with a form. This one's a little bit interesting, because if you look at some of the fields that are on there, yes, there's the contact information, first name, last name, telephone, and email, but they're actually asking the person if they have an idea of their budget area. And they didn't use this, but another question that's really helpful is asking clients how quickly you want this project. So if a client fills out the form and tells you, you know what, we want to start in 2 weeks, you're probably going to get that email request, or you'll be notified, and you might treat it differently than somebody who said, I'm shopping for next year, right? So we're starting the year, but we're actually going to be, shopping throughout the year, and this is a project for next year. It's not that you don't necessarily want to address that client, and get back to them, but there's a level of urgency that's going to help you figure out how you need to respond, and what kind of time frame you're looking at. And so the client that's shopping for next year might be really interesting. If the budget is there, you probably do want to follow up, but you're going to treat it maybe with a little bit of a different approach than somebody who says, I want to start in 2 weeks, especially if you're at capacity, right? You might not even be able to take them on in 2 weeks. So you might take the call, but understand, hey, I'm going to have to clarify with them, when are we actually available? So you're not, going through the whole sales process with them and finding out at the end that, oh, you know what, there's a mismatch here between what they want and what we can deliver. The next section is obviously your portfolio page. So really important to have nice pictures. Sometimes it's better to wait a little bit of time after you finish the project. So wait a year or two for, the greenery to grow, and for the, everything to be a little bit more developed. I think it's okay to do some pictures right away, just try to make sure they're clean, but it's probably best to try to go back to certain job sites after. And the trick that we say is, you can definitely call up past clients when you've had nice projects. The experience we see is clients are usually flattered, right? If you tell them, hey, you know what, your project was such a great project, and we think we did a fantastic job, we're really proud of it, we want to showcase your project, on our portfolio. That's flattering, right? That's a compliment to, the design that you worked on them, and usually they'll be pleased. You can also offer this is a free tip, but you can also offer to come by maybe the day before, do a little bit of a spruce up, at no charge, and tell them, you know what, we'll make sure that, the mulch is all there and everything is clean, and we'll, remove any weeds. That's good for your pictures, and it just also allows the client to have like a service that makes it interesting for them to take this time and allow you to have access to their property. So that usually works really well.
Olivier, can I jump in on that point?
Yes.
I agree with you completely. The year later, we would do it, and we would take a bottle of wine and some wine glasses and some pillows for their patio set.
Yep.
And we would make it a night out with that client that's a
Sure.
year, 2 years on. And it always turned into more work.
That too. That's true. Yep. exactly. It's a great opportunity to go back and maybe get some more work and keep in touch with clients that had larger projects, right? So larger
Yeah.
project might often mean a larger budget, and then might mean more work that they want to get done, and you're staying in touch with them. Yep.
Yeah, inviting their neighbors to show it off.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Thank you for that, Johnny.
Yeah.
So making sure you have testimonials and displaying Google reviews, right? So again, the basics, but we really see that there's a big difference. And I'm going to reference kind of where a lot of these are coming from, but we did a market study where we actually surveyed homeowners. And I think, anyways, from what I've heard, we're the only marketing company that's done this. I've never heard of any other company that did this, but we asked them how important, a whole bunch of marketing elements were when they made a choice of having a contractor work on their house. So we asked them, like, a lot of people are saying, do I need a website? So we asked homeowners, hey, on a scale of 1 to 5, how important is the website when you're gonna have a contractor come to work on your house? On a scale of 1 to 5, how important are the Google reviews? And 1 to 5, how important are, so we were kind of able to figure out what's really important and what are the priorities. And I'm gonna get to that soon, but I would say your contact information, your project portfolio, your testimonials and your Google reviews are definitely really top of the list in terms of making sure that clients are going to get in touch with you, or potential clients are going to get in touch with you if you're, if they're looking for a contractor. All right. How to evaluate your situation and set the right priorities for 2026. So as I mentioned, we did a market study and we actually paid for a survey to homeowners to find out kind of what was really important for them and what was still important. It wasn't that long ago that we did this, so the information is fairly recent. And then what we did is we actually built a diagnostic tool. So you guys can all go to this website that I've put up here. It's called bridgemedia.ca/en/quiz. What it is, it's going to be a couple of questions you're going to answer just about your business. So it's kind of an auto diagnostic. It'll ask you how many years you've been in business. The questionnaire will ask you a bunch of different questions, and then at the end you'll get a scorecard. So it's completely free. It's just to help you identify what are really like the important priorities that you should be working on, and the scorecard will give you a ranking on 8 different categories, and for each category it'll give you a score on 100%. So are you at 90% or are you at maybe 60%? And it's really based on the answers you gave. How well did they line up with what homeowners were saying they were looking for in a contractor? So you'll probably identify the categories where you might be very strong. The answers you gave are exactly what people said they were looking for. And then there might be some categories where the answer you've given maybe is not exactly in line with what people said they were looking for. So that's really a very useful tool that is going to allow you to evaluate where you guys are in terms of not just your website and not just your social media. It asks a bunch of questions a little bit as well about what we call customer experience, and then help you identify what are really the priorities. Because one of the issues we found was the classic is people ask us, hey, should I be doing videos on TikTok? Right? That's kind of like my classic question that, if I had a dime every time somebody asked you that question, I'd be rich. And then the reality is, it's not that you maybe shouldn't be doing videos on TikTok, but doing videos on TikTok might be priority number 13. So if you're top of the line and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 12 done, and you want to do more, yeah, maybe TikTok videos is number 13, and that's what you should be. But I'm not going to recommend that you work on TikTok videos when maybe you have, in your top 3, you maybe have, you have something missing. That's where you should, definitely be putting your effort and making sure that you address, because that actually is going to have a bigger impact on homeowners than the TikTok videos, which are a lot lower in priority. So that was kind of our objective was, hey, let's make sure that we're always advising clients and helping them. And we know all the technologies, we've learned, we're up to date on AI, but what are the basics and what do clients really need? Every client is different. The basic gist of it was going to be, it's really important to build trust with your prospects. So how do we do that? Specifically, the answers were cost transparency. So clients like understanding what's going to be involved in every product, every project. They really are afraid of surprises. So I would say, and if you think about it from their perspective, if they're investing a significant amount in getting some work done, that might be all they have. They might have been saving up, they might have been saving up for a couple of years to get this project done. They have a limited budget. They don't want to hire somebody and at the end be disappointed with the result, or find out, you know, hey, you know what, we're 3/4 through. Actually, now we have to add on an extra amount. And the question, things happen, right? I'm not going to say, you know, there's never any surprises, but the reflex is going to be, well, could this have been, you know, prevented? Could we have known at the beginning? Could we have evaluated this better at the beginning? So I think if, as much as possible, if you guys are transparent in terms of how you're calculating costs, what's included is really helpful. And then guarantees, right? Warranties, they're concerned about that. Responsiveness to their requests, Google reviews, and website. Those were probably some of the top things that came out of our survey. But we surveyed about, I think it was 40 different questions that we asked about different things. And my last part is, if you decide to invest in digital advertising to generate leads, I think that I'm just going to leave you guys with a quick framework to figure out how much you should spend and if it's worth it. So a couple things. Impressions is, when we talk about the sales funnel, we're going to talk about impressions, clicks, conversions, sales, operations, and profit. So impressions is basically when you run an ad, how many people see it. So here's an example of an ad that we ran. We had 25,562 people that saw the ad. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they were interested, but we had at least that many people see the ad. It's kind of like if you're printing out a flyer and it's being distributed to how many households, well, that's the number of people that are actually seeing, you know, your flyer. So impressions is the number of people that see the ad. Clicks is people that were actually interested in, right? So the next part is, okay, people see the ad. This is a funnel, so it's kind of a step-by-step process. Somebody has to see the ad. Then out of all those people, some people will actually take the time to click on it. Then once they click on it, they might actually do a conversion. So that means they'll actually call you or fill out a form to get in touch with you. From there, normally you'll try to work on a sale. So out of everybody that calls you or that fills out a form on your website, get in touch with you, you might do a sale to some of them. Then you got to run your operations. I'll go back to here, and then you end up with your profit at the end. Generally, a quick framework that we talk about is, I'm sorry, this is in French, but I didn't have the time to translate the picture. But about 10% of your budget, 5 to 10% of your budget should be in marketing. That's generally a healthy rule of thumb. This is actually from the BDC. So if you guys know the Business Development Bank of Canada, they kind of published this study and they surveyed businesses, and they were saying basically, if you're B2B, which means you sell like mainly commercial work, you can usually get away with 2 to 5%. But if you're B2C selling to consumers, usually you should be investing 5 to 10% because you need to invest in a couple more marketing channels to reach more customer segments. The other thing is, it's some people don't invest in marketing at all, and they tell me, hey, you know what, my business is doing great. I never invest in marketing, and I got plenty of clients, and I got plenty of word of mouth, and I have a bunch of referrals. And I always say, you know what, that's okay. I mean, you can do that. I just compare that to the kids in high school that, never studied and still really aced all their exams. Like, they didn't study. They still managed to get good grades. They aced every test. All they had to do was listen in class and they were fine. But then after you finish high school and you get to college, if you have never learned how to study, it's going to be really hard because you can't just get away with it anymore. And that's usually sometimes where you get into trouble. So the challenge that I have with just word of mouth, it's not that it's bad. Generally, the best sales come from word of mouth, but you're not developing this function of your business, which is really important, which is marketing, to make sure that you're in control of the leads that are coming in. And so I kind of explain it. It's kind of like you're relying on somebody else to feed you. And eventually, if there's an issue with that, then you're going to get stuck and you might not have us be really happy with what's going on. What we want to do is we want to have a little bit of marketing that's going to allow you to get more prospects coming in. And then you can actually be more choosy in terms of the project that you take. Like if you think about it, if you have a net, you're going fishing and you catch, you have a bunch of different fish in there, you're going to be able to choose the best ones. But if you have a net out and you're only catching, a catfish in a boot, well, maybe, that's what you're going to have to work with, right? You don't have as much choice. So things are great until they go great, but it's always good to have a bit of a marketing in there. We're almost at the end, so I don't want to take too much time on this, but basically it's 5 to 10% of your sales. There are considerations depending on if you've been in business for a long time, you can probably spend a bit less. If you're looking to grow, probably need to spend a bit more. So this varies, but this kind of gives you a benchmark in terms of kind of how much you can invest. And yeah, exactly. And then this was another where the survey was giving a little bit more information about how much businesses had invested according to the size. So if they were less than 2 million in annual sales, they had generally invested per year about 19,000 on their website and about 14,000 advertising, so about 33,000 overall. This was a survey that was done in 2019. So actually, a couple years ago, I would suspect it's gone up since then. So just to give you guys kind of an idea, sometimes people tell me, I don't know how much to invest, and they're always afraid of being taken advantage of. So I'm hopeful that this information is going to, give you guys a bit of a. The other thing is we actually have an ROI calculator. So this is also available on our website. If you go to our website, you go all the way to the bottom. There's a free tool on there called ROI calculator, and you can put in the industry, and then you can basically put in your advertising budget, and it will tell you how many leads you can expect to get and how much sales you can do and how much profit. So I'm not going to take too much time to go through it, but it can be really useful. And then we have a bunch of articles on our website that are really useful. So the social, when I talked about video, we have, let me just go back to this. We have some articles. They're kind of listed here, but I can make sure everybody gets the presentation, or we'll make it available to you guys. These are articles on our blog about how to create videos for social media. So that's a really helpful tool that you guys can use. And then our ROI calculator as well, I think is something that's really going to be useful. And we have this, which is basically 13 different strategies that go a little bit further than what I was able to present today to help you with your online marketing, and then just help you maximize. So it's basically all our years of experience working with all different contractors. A lot of it is based on contractors, even though we do work with dealers and manufacturers. But a lot of the tips we're giving you in here are specifically for contractors. What we've seen as, the playbooks that we've seen that have really worked and have helped them. And right now we do have a promotion. So all the way up until the end of March, we have a up to 30% off on some of our web solutions. And then we have kind of what we call our website boost, which is about half price off on a complete audit and revamp of a website solution. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you get in touch with me after the presentation. And that's about it, with 1 minute to spare. But yeah, we're available on all the social media platforms, and in LinkedIn, and our website is bridgemedia.ca. Not to be confused with bridgemedia.com, which I've been waiting about 13 years to try to get, but it's a guy who owns a media company in San Francisco who registered it a year before I started my business. So so right now we're still bridgemedia.ca.
All right. Thanks, Oliver.
My pleasure.
And thank you, everyone. So thanks to Mike, Johnny, and Oliver for all your help, guys. Really appreciate it. Is there any questions before we wrap up? All right. Well, thanks for everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it. I hope you learned some stuff today. If you have any follow-up afterwards, feel free to reach out to myself or Mike, Johnny, or Oliver, whoever. Yes, because I can get to their contact information if you don't already have it. So
Yeah, and I'll see you guys out there for the Permacon events in Halifax and Moncton. Okay, so Andrew's gonna help me out. I'll send you guys through our full catalog, and I've got answers for all your questions out there. Okay.
Yeah, I know I have been doing up packages for the landscapers. I had given some out to the designers and architects. Didn't have the tools because I didn't know if you guys would want that, but I can get those out to you. But for landscapers, I am getting packages out that have the Great North Hardscape catalogs, the 2026 version. So,
Okay.
Yep. Cool.
We have somebody who has his hand up. I think Guy Richardson.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, there should be a little microphone at the bottom. You have to just click on it, and it should. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great, great information, guys. Thank you for all three presentations. It was excellent. Basic question: will this video be available?
Yeah, it's being recorded, so we'll find a way to make it available to everybody. I'll let Andrew coordinate that, but yeah, I've been recording it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
send that out to you guys. I know there's even a few people. I mean, it's a sunny day here in Halifax, so I could see you guys. If that cleanup starts. So anyway, so we want to send it out to those guys. So yep. So we'll take care of you.
Thank you very much. Great presentation.
Good question. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy.